This is like being home at my home screen from Europe. So I just flew in from the Czech Republic in the EU, and now I'm adjusting to being back here in the States. So, are there any questions this morning? This is the question and answer part. Any
I have a
questions about
question.
Wendy or
Um,
what Wendy said? Yes, who?
can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Please,
Okay, I
please.
guess I have two questions.
Oh, yeah.
I already asked the first one. I was mowing the lawn a couple weeks ago, and I ran over a little snake, and I didn't realize it until I had come back around. Half of its body was kind of sliced open, and the other half was wiggling about, trying to get out of the grass.
Uh-huh.
And I really didn't know what to do because I mean, you take the vow, I don't kill anything. So I was like, okay, I'm on the front porch. I'm kind of freaking out. I'm looking up on my phone what animal hospitals are open. How am I going to get this dying snake in my car to take it to the animal hospital? And my dad tells me that I have to go run it over because it's going to die. I'm just letting it suffer longer. I need to go kill it, and I didn't know what to
Uh-huh.
do. But I ended up deciding that my precepts are open, precepts are closed. I couldn't really help this thing. I didn't want it to suffer, so I ran it over. And I'm wondering if I did the right thing or what I should have done.
Yeah, right, right. So everything in Zen and in Buddhism is about intention. So you didn't intend to kill that snake, but it happened like accidentally, right? And then it's suffering and it's obviously not going to recover. So then moment to moment you have to decide how can I help this world. So Zen Master Sung Sung always said, use your bad karma and your good karma to help the world. So any situation we can evaluate it as good or bad, right? So then in that situation, you have to figure out, well, how am I going to help? What is your before thinking mind, your intuitive mind, your open-hearted mind, your compassionate mind, all the different words we have for that. How's this going to help this snake? So you put it out of its misery. I had a situation like that once too. My I went to get out to get my mail I lived on a road north of Lawrence on the Wellman Road. And I went to get my mail, and just as I went to get my mail, my dog was across the road and saw me and came running and it was so focused on me that it was oblivious to this truck coming, and this truck ran over my dog. So it was the same kind of situation. I didn't intend to kill my dog. I didn't even call my dog. She just came running, and then I had to go into the house and get my gun, and I shot her. So that was oh God, it was my wonderful dog. So that situation requires you to do something. So you may like it, not like it. The question is, your good karma, your bad karma. The question is it helping, right? So if you're clear and if your intentions are clear, then your actions become clear, and hopefully you can help the world. But we live in this suffering world. I know one time Zen Master Sung Sung said, "Well, when Buddha got enlightenment, he saw a star, and we call that right. We call that morning star enlightenment. Boom! Oh, great! So that sounds wonderful. Wow, the morning star. I love the morning star. It's not the morning star; it's a planet. But we'll forego that and think, wow, this is great, right? But then he said, if Buddha got enlightenment today, he would get tear enlightenment. And he took his finger and drew down from his cheek here. He would get tear enlightenment. Yeah. So that's a kind of wake up that the Buddha got when he saw old age, sickness, and death, right? So when he sees old age, sickness, and death, he sees the suffering of the world. So that's kind of like the Buddha's tear enlightenment, right? And we have that all the time too. So that's what you see there. That's what I saw with my dog. You can see it all around you all the time. You know, now it's going on in Afghanistan. Next week it'll be going on in Kosovo or someplace, right? So you can see it on that level, but you see it on a very intimate level, just moment to moment in your life. So that's why we practice. We practice with an intention. It's not to get anything. It's to wake up to what we are intended to be. So human beings are beings of intention, and that intention is to save this world from suffering. So that's the big meaning of our life, is this intention. Now that action, I don't know what it'll be moment to moment because there's no rules for it. You know, there's those kind of general rules like those precepts or something. But, you know, moment to moment, how do they play out? You don't know. There are no rules. So you have to keep this very open, wide, loving, and compassionate mind. Then you can respond to this moment. And it'll be in terms of your karma and the karma of this moment. So your compassion at that moment was to kill that snake. So yeah, that's the teardrop running down. Okay? Sorry. That's our job. Not very pleasant, but it is our job. Any other questions? I had a I had one of those experiences like Wenda had where she completely, or not completely, but missed what a situation was about. So I had this interesting experience flying down here. I flew from Milwaukee to Chicago to Kansas City, right? So the plane in Milwaukee was delayed for 4 hours. So I'm just sitting there waiting for it to take off because it needed to be repaired. So I get on the plane. So you know when you fly these days, there's this standard list of things that the flight attendant will read, and they're the usual things, you know, like how to connect your seatbelt and that kind of stuff. But these days it also has stuff about wearing masks. So I'm on United. United Airline requires you to wear a mask. If you don't wear that mask, what they read to you is that you're going to violate federal law. So it's against federal law for you not to wear a mask on the plane, right? But in Europe, I mean, in Europe, it all seems a little more civilized than here. They don't have as at least as many people objecting to doing a simple thing like wearing a mask. But here, at least I read on the news before I came to the United States that there's a lot of people who are objecting to wearing masks because it impinges on their freedom, right? So I had that in my brain, in the back of my brain somewhere. So I get on the plane. So this guy, I'm sitting in the front of the plane, and there's many people back behind me. Not many, because the plane had been delayed. They'd all been put on different planes, but there's a few back there. Then we take off, and then the flight attendant reads this thing about, if you refuse to wear a mask, you are violating federal law. Then as soon as she finished saying that, there's a guy in the back who starts yelling. And he yells, does that mean it's going to be against federal law to pee in the aisle here? He yells that. So in my mind, I'm thinking, oh God, this is one of those people objecting to wearing a mask on the plane, and the airport police are going to have to come and drag this guy off, and blah blah blah. So then the plane goes to land. I don't even look back at him because I don't want to look back at him. So everybody's kind of looking at the floor, you know, hoping that this doesn't get any worse. Then suddenly I see somebody in the back get up and go to the bathroom, but the plane is landing. Then the plane lands. We pull up to the gate, everybody gets out, blah, blah, blah. And I don't even see who that person is. So I'm thinking, wow, that was lucky. Here was one of these anti mass freedom people on a plane that I was on. God, that's kind of like scary, right? Could cause a lot of trouble. And then this morning I was thinking about this incident, right? And then suddenly it just boom, it just hit me. Right, he wasn't talking about mass. He was talking about this flight that is so short that you're not allowed to use the bathroom because it's only a 17-minute flight, from Milwaukee to Chicago. And he had to pee. So what he was yelling about was the fact that he had to get up. Am I going to be put in prison for peeing in the aisle? And instead, he just gets up and runs to the bathroom real quick and then runs back. And he gets back to his seat about the time we actually hit the ground, boom. So he wasn't talking about mass. He was talking about the fact that he wasn't allowed to get up and pee. So I completely misperceived the situation. What was really going on was he had to urinate, and he wasn't anti-mask or anything. And that's why I didn't see any police rushing onto the plane to grab him and dragging him off. So what Wenda says, or this kind of situation, what you want to do is keep practicing this kind of clearing your mind. Like this sound is kind of like pushing a clear button on a pocket calculator. So you want to kind of get a mind habit of doing that all the time. And then you can see this moment clearly. So you push the button, push the button, push the button, push the button. And then you get this clear mind button pushing mind habit when you practice. So you boom, 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 boom. So everybody, even somebody like me, knows that if you're going to use a pocket calculator, you have to push that clear button. Otherwise, you don't know what the hell's coming up on the screen, right? So that's always going on in our mind. There's all this crap inside of your pocket calculator, and it's really good to get in the habit of pushing the button. Then you can see, oh, I have to take care of this snake, or this guy had to pee, or Wenda had to deal with this temporary housemaster who was probably later embarrassed by the situation. But you don't know, right? So, if you keep pushing the clear button, then it's more likely that your pocket calculator is going to be able to handle the data and come up with a clear answer here, right? So that's the idea behind practice. You're just setting up in this case, the way I'm describing it now is you're setting up a mind habit about continually pushing this clear button inside your mind. That's why you might say your mantra a lot during the day, or you might do bows during the day. When you're doing bows, you're pushing your clear button. If you're chanting, you're pushing your clear button. If you're doing some kind of sazen or sitting practice, you're pushing your clear button, and that's all. You're just making things clear. You're not getting anything. You're just returning your pocket computer to its original state so that it can do its job, which is to help the world. So that's the intention behind that. Any questions now? No? Good. I can go on vacation then.
I have a question.
Oh, please. Yeah, go ahead, please. Yeah.
Can you talk about taking refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha,
Yeah, right.
and what that means? Like, is there any action? Is that in that? Is that a feeling? Is that, or maybe your personal?
Yeah. Right. So taking precepts is a kind of technique, and what it's doing is emotionally, cognitively, every way, attaching you to a particular direction. So as I said, human beings are beings of intention. So my intention might be to rob you. My intention might be to kill you. My intention might be to marry you. I don't know. But with Buddhists, you want to make that intention clear. So this Buddha Dharma Sangha thing is a kind of technique. You know, we wear special clothes. We do all kinds of stuff. You know, we go through ceremonies. We do all kinds of. These are all techniques to point you in a particular direction, so your direction can become clear. So you become a helpful person. So because we're beings of intention, we state our intentions clearly so that our lives are clear, rather than creating all the crap that human beings are usually doing to each other all the time, right? So now you got Afghanistan, and then you've got Pakistan, and then you got people in Pakistan who don't like the people in Afghanistan, and Afghanis who don't like those people in Pakistan, and the Indians don't like the Indians, the Chinese don't like the Chinese, and they don't care for the Malays, and the Singaporeans are crap, right? So we're always thinking all this stuff all the time. So taking precepts and taking those vows is just a kind of technique to point your little computer up here in a clear, helpful, loving, compassionate direction. So that's big I want. So usually we're rumbling around in small I want somewhere. And this is just to help us let go of that, as Wenda said, to push our clear button to let go of it moment to moment to moment to moment, so our lives can become clear and we can manifest this compassion and intention that the Buddha had and many people have, which is our original, what we call in Zen, our original true nature. So that's the idea behind that taking refuge. It's a kind of technique to reorient your little computer up here towards love and compassion. Because Buddhism is all about suffering and taking away suffering. Everything the Buddha taught was about human suffering and the suffering we create for ourselves and everything else, the whole world. You all know about that. And then what do you do about it, right? So that's one of the techniques to help take away suffering. So this tier enlightenment, when you become aware of that, then you want to point your life in a different direction. And that's the idea behind taking those refuges. They're a statement of intention that your little pocket calculator is going in this direction, and I hope that we all can realize that in our inside of ourselves and do it moment to moment to moment in our life. So that's our job, moment to moment to moment. It's actually quite simple. This is not philosophically deep. It's very primitive suffering feeling inside. And then what do we do about that? And how do we keep from creating that suffering ourselves? Right? So that's what those intentions are about. That's why we practice. That's why we wear these clothes, right? It's always about this behind meaning. So the behind meaning is suffering, taking away suffering. So thank you for coming today and practicing, and do it. Then you can help the world. Sitting around thinking about it and speculating, well, it's okay, but then do something so it becomes yours, not just a good idea. Okay? Thank you for listening.